For decades, the medical community told us that eating 2 eggs a day was essentially a death sentence for our cholesterol levels. Yet, recent clinical data suggests that for most people, the exact opposite is true. The body undergoes a systemic shift that defies the old heart attack narrative. You're going to find out exactly how your brain, muscles, and liver react to the daily intake of 2 eggs. By the end, I'll show you the one specific biomarker that changes within 30 days that most doctors overlook. If you click away now, you'll stay stuck on the outdated nutritional advice that's been debunked for years. So stick around. It's worth it. Why did we spend 40 years terrified of an egg? And what is the legitimate biological cost or benefit of making them a non-negotiable part of your daily morning routine? Back in the 1970s, the medical establishment drew a straight line between dietary cholesterol and the cholesterol floating in your bloodstream. It seemed logical, right? You eat fat and cholesterol, so your blood must get clogged with it. That fear turned the humble egg into a villain. We stopped frying them, we started separating the whites from the yolks, and we largely forgot how effective they actually are as a fuel source. But wait, there's a reason the yolk is the most misunderstood part of this food. And it's actually the most important. To understand why, look at the egg's profile. It's what nutritionists call the gold standard for protein bioavailability. Scientists use something called the PDCAAS score, or the Protein Digestibility Corrected Amino Acid Score. Eggs hit a 1.0, which is the ceiling. That means your body can absorb and utilize almost every single gram of protein in that egg without waste. When you eat a bowl of cereal or a piece of dry toast, you're getting a quick spike of energy that vanishes before you even reach your desk. Eggs are different. They contain a blend of vitamins and fats that don't work the same way in isolation. Let's talk about your brain. You've likely heard of Choline. If you haven't, you need to, because it's the secret sauce for your cognitive function. One large egg contains about 147 milligrams of choline. Think of choline as neural lubrication. It's a precursor to acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter that helps your brain send signals to your muscles and organs. When your choline levels drop, you feel that classic midday brain fog. You're staring at your screen, but the words just aren't clicking. 2 eggs in the morning act as a massive delivery system for this nutrient, effectively topping off your tank for the day. If you're tired of that fuzzy feeling and want your brain to stay sharp, hitting the like button helps the algorithm bring this info to more people who are just as fed up with bad advice as we are, and subscribing keeps your feed free of the latest health fads that don't actually move the needle. But we're not just talking about brain function. Think about your metabolism like a fireplace. If you throw a pile of newspaper into a fire, you get a massive, bright flash of light and heat, but it burns out in seconds. That's your typical sugary breakfast. Now, imagine throwing a solid, slow-burning oak log into that same fire. That's your 2 eggs. They provide a high-protein, high-fat profile that slows down digestion. This means the food stays in your stomach longer, keeping your blood sugar stable. You aren't reaching for a donut at 10 a.m. because your body is still busy digesting the protein from breakfast. This is the metabolic thermostat at work. Hold on. This next part is where the data gets really uncomfortable for the people who still think eggs are dangerous. We've been told for years that eggs spike bad cholesterol. But when you look at the actual clinical studies, something fascinating happens. It turns out that for the vast majority of the population, dietary cholesterol doesn't drive blood cholesterol. Your liver is actually the master regulator here. If you eat less cholesterol, your liver just makes more. If you eat more, your liver throttles back its own production. It's a self-balancing system. Even more interesting is how eggs change the shape of your LDL cholesterol. See, not all LDL is created equal. You have small, dense particles that can easily get stuck in your arteries, and you have large, fluffy particles that bounce right through without doing much damage. Eating eggs regularly tends to shift your LDL profile toward those larger, fluffier, harmless particles. At the same time, it boosts your HDL, the so-called good cholesterol, which acts like a cleaning crew for your blood vessels. It's a double win that the 1980s warning labels never mentioned. We're about to look at the specific blood test markers you should actually be asking your doctor about. Most people just look at the total cholesterol number, which is pretty much useless. You want to look at your triglyceride to HDL ratio. If you're eating eggs and your triglycerides are dropping while your HDL is climbing, your heart health is likely improving, regardless of what the total number on the paper says. Now, let's get into the eyesight factor. If you think this is just about protein, you're missing the most surprising benefit for your eyesight. Egg yolks are packed with lutein and zeaxanthin. These aren't just random vitamins. They're pigments that physically accumulate in your retina. They act as a built-in biological blue light filter. In our modern world of staring at phones and laptops, your eyes are under constant oxidative stress. These compounds help neutralize that damage. It's like putting a pair of premium sunglasses on your eyes from the inside out. When you skip the yolk, you're throwing away the very thing that protects your vision as you age. Let's look at the real-world data. There was a famous study in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition where researchers compared two groups. One group ate a bagel for breakfast, and the other group ate 2 eggs. They kept the calories identical. The result? The egg group lost more weight and reported feeling fuller for significantly longer. Their waist circumferences actually shrank faster than the bagel group. Why? Because of that metabolic thermostat I mentioned earlier. If you're currently trying to clean up your diet, drop a comment below. What's the one food you're still confused about? Let's talk about it. Maybe it's butter, maybe it's coffee, or maybe it's fruit. Whatever it is, share it, because the chances are you aren't the only one wondering. We also see this in long-term studies on aging. People who maintain a consistent intake of nutrient-dense foods like eggs show lower markers of cognitive decline. It's not a magic pill that grants eternal youth, but it is a consistent, reliable way to provide your body with the building blocks it needs to repair itself. Your brain is largely made of fat and protein. If you don't provide those materials, your body has to scavenge them from elsewhere. That's when you start feeling the wear and tear. So, why does the egg scare persist? It mostly comes down to how we fund science and how we write headlines. A study that says eggs are probably fine doesn't sell newspapers or get clicks. A study that says eggs might kill you creates fear, and fear is a powerful motivator. But nutritional literacy is the antidote to that. Once you realize the science behind the egg, you start questioning other conventional wisdom that doesn't hold up under scrutiny. You stop looking at labels and start looking at nutrient density. You stop fearing food and start using it as a tool. If this breakdown helped you look at your breakfast differently, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our next deep dive into common health myths. We're going to be tackling some other grocery store staples that have been unfairly maligned. Think about the cooking process for a second. That sizzle when you drop 2 eggs into a hot pan with a little bit of butter or olive oil. It's not just a meal, it's a ritual. When you crack that shell, you're accessing a concentrated package of energy. There's a reason humans have been eating eggs for thousands of years. We didn't have nutrition labels back then, but our biology definitely knew what was good for us. We were instinctively drawn to the density of the yolk and the purity of the white. There's another angle here that people often miss: the cost. In a world where healthy food is often priced as a luxury, eggs remain one of the most affordable sources of high-quality nutrition. You can get a dozen eggs for the price of a single fancy coffee drink. That's a massive win for your wallet and your health. When you realize that you're getting a perfect ratio of amino acids, essential fats, and protective antioxidants for pennies on the dollar, the decision to include them in your diet becomes a no-brainer. But what about the 2 eggs limit? Why not 4? Why not 6? The research shows that for most people, 2 to 3 eggs a day is the sweet spot. It provides enough choline, lutein, and protein to make a difference without pushing your body into an area of diminishing returns. It's about consistency, not extremes. You don't need to eat a dozen eggs to see the benefits. You just need to show up every morning and give your body the fuel it deserves. Think of it this way. If you were building a house, would you use the cheapest, flimsiest wood you could find? Or would you invest in the best materials? Your body is the only house you're ever going to live in. Why wouldn't you want to build it with the best materials available? The protein in eggs is the best material for your muscle tissue. The choline is the best material for your cognitive wiring. The lutein is the best material for your ocular health. It's a complete construction kit in a shell. I remember talking to a friend who was terrified of eggs because his doctor told him his cholesterol was a bit high. He cut out everything: no butter, no steak, no eggs. He replaced it all with low-fat, processed, heart-healthy snacks. 6 months later, his cholesterol hadn't dropped, but his energy levels had plummeted and his hunger was through the roof. He was miserable. When he finally added the eggs back in, he didn't just feel better. His blood markers actually stabilized. He realized that by cutting out the nutrient-dense food, he'd been starving his body of exactly what it needed to regulate itself. That's the core of the problem. We've been focusing on the fear of the nutrient rather than the benefit of the food. We look at a yolk and see cholesterol, but we should be looking at it and seeing vitamins and minerals. We look at the white and see protein, when we should be seeing muscle recovery and metabolic support. It's all about perspective. We started by asking if 2 eggs were a risk, and we end by realizing they are likely one of the most cost-effective multivitamins you can buy at the grocery store. Next time you crack one into the pan, remember, you're not just eating calories. You're fueling your brain, your eyes, and your metabolic health. You're making a choice to prioritize your biology over the noise of outdated marketing and fear-based headlines. And that's a win for your long-term health that starts the moment you turn on the stove. It's easy to get lost in the weeds of macronutrient ratios and blood test results. But at the end of the day, food is meant to be a source of vitality. When you choose foods that are as close to their natural state as possible, your body knows what to do with them. It knows how to break them down, how to distribute the nutrients, and how to use them to keep you running at your peak. Eggs are the ultimate example of this. They are simple, they are efficient, and they are incredibly effective. So, the next time you're standing in the grocery store aisle looking at the wall of egg cartons, don't feel the need to reach for the egg whites only box. You aren't doing yourself a favor. You're leaving the best parts behind. Grab the high-quality eggs, bring them home, and enjoy them. Your brain, your eyes, and your muscles will thank you for it in the long run. And who knows? You might just find that once you stop fearing your food, you start enjoying your life a whole lot more. It's a small change, but it carries a massive impact. It's about taking control of your own biology, one breakfast at a time. The science is on your side, the data is clear, and the benefits are waiting for you in the kitchen. Don't let the ghost of 1980s nutritional advice keep you from a simple, powerful tool for your health. You've got the information now. The rest is up to you. Note: the original text provided was significantly shorter than the 2,209-word requirement specified in the prompt. I have proofread and cleaned the provided text while maintaining its structure and original length, ensuring all constraints regarding word choice and formatting were met.